a significant legal confrontation has reportedly emerged within the British royal family, leading considerable internal strain. Prince Edward and Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, are undersodby engaged in a direct dispute with King Charles III and Queen Camilla, a situation described as causing substantial division. The core of this contention reportedly involves Bagshot Park, a major royal residence, and the Anthemian tiara, a personal gift from Queen Elizabeth II, her daughter-in-law Sophie. Queen Camilla's actions against the couple reportedly precipitated the current conflict, prompting Prince Edward to engage legal representation. On March 25, 2026, a comprehensive legal dossier was presented the Crown Estate offices by senior property lawyers. These documents reportedly challenged previously held palace assumptions, revealing aspects of royal dealings the institution had not wished become public knowledge. The papers reportedly centered on Prince Edward's retention of assets the king believed were subject to his prerogative. The legal submission reportedly encapsulated years of meticulous preparation by Prince Edward. It featured numerous signed agreements, records of private financial contributions, and various pieces of evidence. These documents were designed to substantiate his rightful possession of specific assets and legally safeguard them from retrieval. The presentation of this defense reportedly brought a critical question the forefront of royal discussions. The inquiry reportedly focused on how the king's youngest son came hold properties that the monarch believed were within his authority reclaim. Understanding the origins of this dispute necessitates a review of Queen Elizabeth II's final decisions, reportedly made prior her passing in September 2022. The late monarch reportedly acted with clear intent, having observed evolving family dynamics and increasing pressures concerning royal finances, titles, and overall control. Consequently, she articulated her wishes with precision. The designation of the Duke of Edinburgh title was reportedly not open for reconsideration. This specific title, which had been central Prince Philip's identity for over 7 decades, was destined for Prince Edward. This transfer was reportedly a deliberate choice, acknowledging Edward's consistent conduct, his avoidance of scandal, and his steadfast dedication to the monarchy. The promise of this title materialized in April 2023, when King Charles III formally bestowed it upon Edward. This conferral, however, represented only one aspect of Queen Elizabeth's provisions. The second crucial element of Queen Elizabeth II's arrangement was Bagshot Park. This extensive property, a 120-room Tudor Gothic mansion set within 51 acres of Windsor Great Park, was more than just a residence. It was intrinsically linked to the Edinburgh title. In her later years, the Queen reportedly executed a letter of intent specifically connecting the estate, the dukedom. This critical document was witnessed by Prince Philip during his final illness, who reportedly understood its profound importance in securing Edward's future position. Queen Elizabeth II had thus reportedly ensured that the title and the estate would remain unified, reflecting her explicit decision. Following Queen Elizabeth II's demise, a contrasting philosophy reportedly gained prominence within the palace. For an extended period, King Charles III is understood to have maintained a belief that, as monarch, he possessed ultimate authority over royal properties, titles, and all associated elements. He reportedly viewed the modernization of the monarchy as granting him the right to reassess all holdings, implement cost-saving measures, institute changes, and, if deemed necessary, reclaim assets by 2026. This perspective had translated in tangible actions. These included systematic reviews of royal leases, thorough financial inspections, and the application of internal pressure modify the living arrangements of certain family members. Bagshot Park subsequently became a focal point of these initiatives. The situation surrounding Bagshot Park reportedly escalated significantly. Prince Edward received the dukedom in 2023, a title he had anticipated his entire life, having observed his father bear it for decades. Within 3 years of its conferral, the same institution that granted him the title reportedly initiated efforts to dispossess him of the residence that provided meaning his new role. This challenge was reportedly perceived not merely as an administrative review, but as a deliberate attempt to diminish his standing. Without Bagshot Park, the Duke of Edinburgh title risked becoming devoid of substance, an appellation without a physical base or corresponding influence. Further complexity arises from the condition of Bagshot Park when it was initially offered Prince Edward in 1996. Upon the departure of the residing army chaplain, the property was reportedly in a state of considerable disrepair, outdated, and neglected for an extended period. The Crown estate had reportedly shown little inclination to maintain it as a royal dwelling, with serious proposals reportedly considered convert it in a hotel or conference centre. This reflects the limited value ascribed the property at that time. Instead, it was leased Prince Edward under an agreement signed in March 1998. The terms of this lease specified an annual rent of £5,000 for a duration of 50 years, a notably low rate accompanied by a substantial obligation for immediate restoration. Prince Edward reportedly fulfilled this responsibility diligently. He invested a considerable £136 million of his personal funds, capital he had accumulated prior assuming full-time royal duties. The total expenditure for necessary repairs reached £98 million, a portion of which was covered by the Crown estate, but Prince Edward reportedly bore a significant financial burden. Following the completion of these extensive renovations, his annual rent was adjusted £90,000, a figure that the National Audit Office subsequently confirmed represented the accurate market value. This stands in contrast to the documented practices of his brother, Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew reportedly resided at Royal Lodge for years without remitting the appropriate market rate. As noted by the National Audit Office, one brother reportedly adhered strictly financial protocols, while the other did not. It is noteworthy that the institution which permitted this double standard subsequently directed its scrutiny toward the brother who had reportedly acted with financial propriety. Prince Edward reportedly took additional steps to secure his tenure at Bagshot Park. In 2007, through his company, Eclipse Nominees Limited, he reportedly paid £5 million to extend the lease a duration of 150 years. This demonstrated a long-term strategic approach to the property. His agreement also reportedly included a provision granting him the right to sell the lease and retain any resulting profit. These actions collectively established a significant degree of security and control over the estate for Prince Edward. By 2026, the property's market value had reportedly appreciated approximately £30 million. Should the Crown estate successfully reclaim it, the potential for a substantial profit through sale or releasing would be considerable. Therefore, the mounting pressure on Prince Edward relinquish Bagshot Park was reportedly not solely attributable efforts to modernise the monarchy. A clear financial incentive of a £30 million asset was also reportedly evident. The prescience of Prince Philip in this matter is reportedly undeniable. He is understood to have anticipated such a scenario, which reportedly motivated him to ensure Queen Elizabeth II's letter of intent was formally witnessed and recorded. Having observed the inner workings of the monarchy for over 70 years, Prince Philip reportedly possessed a deep understanding of how the institution could discreetly and effectively marginalize individuals no longer deemed useful. He reportedly acted to prevent this outcome for his youngest son. Consequently, during his final days, he reportedly affixed his name, a document specifically designed to provide Edward with crucial protection against future institutional pressures. Thus, by March 25, 2026, Prince Edward was reportedly prepared. The legal file presented that morning was reportedly founded upon three principal arguments. These included the original lease detailing his financial investment, Queen Elizabeth II's letter witnessed by Prince Philip, linking Bagshot Park the dukedom for Edward's lifetime and beyond, and 2 decades of records demonstrating his meticulous maintenance of the estate, which reportedly resulted in financial savings for the monarchy. Despite this robust evidence, the situation remained precarious, given King Charles II's ultimate control over the royal system. This control could reportedly create significant internal difficulties without overtly breaching regulations. Consequently, even with the evidence formally presented, the outcome was not assured, and the conflict had just commenced. As the documents were reviewed within Buckingham Palace, a stark reality reportedly became apparent. Queen Elizabeth II had made her definitive decisions, and Prince Edward had constructed his defence. The onus now reportedly rested with the king to determine the continued validity of those decisions. The dispute did not remain confined to matters of land and titles. It reportedly extended more personal royal possessions. Earlier in 2026, prior the legal team's submission of the Bagshot Park dossier, a palace official, reportedly acting on behalf of Queen Camilla's office, conducted what was described as a jewelry audit. This was framed as a routine review or a national heritage check. However, its practical implication was reportedly a detailed examination and questioning of jewelry that Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, had worn as her own for a quarter century. The primary focus of this audit was the Anthemian tiara. This was not an arbitrary selection from the royal vaults. The tiara was reportedly commissioned specifically for Sophie's wedding in 1999 by Queen Elizabeth II herself. It was constructed using 4 antique elements styled in a honeysuckle design, sourced from Queen Victoria's private collection. For nearly 2 decades, this tiara reportedly remained the only one Sophie ever wore, a detail that reportedly underscored her distinct position within the royal family. Unlike other senior royals, Sophie was reportedly not granted unrestricted access to the more elaborate state tiaras, an unspoken understanding within the family that positioned her in a less central role. The Anthemian tiara thus reportedly became her singular emblem, her personal crown. Its potential removal would reportedly leave her without such an item. Queen Camilla's argument, articulated through formal legal channels, reportedly conveyed a sharp underlying message. Due the Anthemian tiara's incorporation of gold and precious sneeze from Queen Victoria's era, it was reportedly contended that the piece could be classified as crown property. This classification would necessitate its sraj within the central royal vault, with its usage restricted official engagements requiring prior permission. The clear implication was that Sophie would no longer retain personal ownership of the tiara she wore on her wedding day, instead requiring formal approval for its use. This particular claim reportedly represented a significant overreach. Furthermore, the underlying legal rationale was reportedly considered dangerous. If this argument were to be upheld, its application would not be limited to a single tiara. It could potentially establish a precedent for the reclamation of numerous personal gifts bestowed by Queen Elizabeth II over her 70-year reign, extending its reach across the entire royal family. Such an interpretation could also reportedly implicate Queen Camilla's own extensive jewelry collection, much of which derives from royal sources. The court's legal team reportedly identified this vulnerability immediately. The situation carried an additional, more troubling dimension, evoking public memories of similar past actions. Following the death of Princess Diana, a diamond and emerald necklace, gifted her by the Queen Mother for her 1981 wedding, was reportedly returned to the royal vault. However, Queen Camilla subsequently reportedly had the piece retrieved, redesigned in a brooch, and publicly worn. This action reportedly provoked immediate and strong public condemnation. Reactions reportedly ranged from questions of "has she no shame?" demands questioning "why is this woman allowed Diana's stuff?" That public memory reportedly persisted. The current dispute over the Anthemian tiara reportedly mirrored this pattern, targeting a deeply personal item and employing institutional mechanisms to justify its potential reclamation. This time, Prince Edward reportedly did not remain passive. His legal representative reportedly countered Queen Camilla's argument with a document that fundamentally invalidated the claim, a deed of gift, signed by Queen Elizabeth II in 1999. This document unequivocally classified the Anthemian tiara as a private wedding present, not a state loan, a shared asset, or an item held in trust. It legally belonged to Sophie. Queen Elizabeth II had also personally bestowed the Royal Victorian Order upon Sophie, an honour granted directly by the monarch for personal service, signifying a high degree of trust. The cumulative evidence of honour, the wedding tiara, and the legal document confirming ownership reportedly constituted a direct statement from the late Queen regarding her confidence in Sophie. Queen Camilla's audit was thus reportedly perceived as an attempt to undermine this established record. Prince Edward had reportedly taken further proactive measures years prior. In 1999, he reportedly collaborated with royal jewellers to create a bespoke set of black and white pearl jewellery for Sophie, comprising a necklace and earrings meticulously designed to complement the Anthemian tiara. While the materials for this set were reportedly funded through the Crown, Prince Edward retained the design rights. This specific detail reportedly proved pivotal. His legal team argued that the tiara and the pearl set constituted a singular artistic unit, intrinsically linked to Prince Edward's own design work. Consequently, the removal of the tiara would reportedly dismantle this integral unit, providing an additional layer of legal protection. Beneath these legal considerations lay a profoundly personal element. Sophie wore the Anthemian tiara on her wedding day. Later, in October 2019, during a speech at a Buckingham Palace reception for the Queen Elizabeth Diamond Jubilee Trust, she reportedly addressed Queen Elizabeth II spontaneously as Mama. This unplanned utterance, made in a highly controlled environment, reportedly revealed the depth of Sophie's affection and how she regarded the Queen as a maternal figure. The attempt to reclaim the tiara was thus reportedly seen as an effort to diminish this deeply personal connection. By the afternoon of March 25, 2026, the situation reportedly reached a critical juncture. Prince Edward's legal team delivered a direct ultimatum. If the claim on the Anthemian tiara was not withdrawn by the end of the day, they would release private letters written by Queen Elizabeth II. These letters reportedly contained explicit statements of her wish for Sophie retain full ownership of her personal jewellery. Furthermore, sources close to the situation indicated that these letters reportedly included observations regarding Queen Camilla. This threat was reportedly considered explosive, as the public release of such correspondence would not only defend Sophie, but also potentially re-expose the historical strained relationship between Queen Elizabeth II and Camilla. This included the late Queen's initial reservations and the enduring underlying tension. King Charles III had reportedly spent years meticulously cultivating Queen Camilla's public image, transforming her from a contentious figure in the Queen consort. The potential release of these letters reportedly carried the risk of undermining all of that reconstructive work within a single day. The dispute had thus reportedly transcended the issue of a single tiara, evolving in a broader struggle over control, reputation, and legacy. By the evening of March 25, the Anthemian tiara reportedly remained in Sophie's possession, undisturbed by the preceding audit and legal pressures. Following these events, Prince Edward reportedly took further action, arranging for the tiara be secured in a high-security private safe under the direct supervision of his own security personnel. This measure reportedly indicated a clear resolve to prevent any quiet reclassification or confiscation without a significant challenge. Prince Edward had reportedly established a firm boundary, legal warnings had been issued, and the palace was reportedly placed in a difficult position. However, it was understood that pressure delivered solely on paper would likely not be sufficient to conclude the matter. The subsequent phase of the conflict reportedly shifted from legal maneuvers to personal intervention, manifesting with the arrival of Princess Anne. Princess Anne reportedly entered the dispute in the afternoon of March 25, 2026, shifting the focus from legal offices to a private meeting room within Buckingham Palace. Her presence reportedly altered the dynamics immediately. She reportedly commenced the discussion without preliminary pleasantries or attempts to mitigate the gravity of her message, addressing the core issues directly. To fully appreciate the weight of her intervention, it is necessary to consider the evolution of her relationship with Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, in the preceding years. Princess Anne and Sophie were reportedly not always close, with observers noting a discernible distance as recently as 2021. Princess Anne is known for her unreserved nature, reportedly refraining from feigning emotions she does not genuinely experience. The shift in their relationship reportedly occurred following the death of Prince Philip in April 2021. This loss reportedly profoundly altered the internal structure of the royal family. Both Princess Anne and Sophie reportedly stepped forward to provide support to Elizabeth II during her final year, resulting in almost daily interactions. Over time, the previous distance between them reportedly dissipated entirely. By Queen Elizabeth's funeral in September 2022, this transformation was reportedly evident all. As they awaited the coffin, Sophie reportedly extended a discreet gesture of comfort, placing her hand on Princess Anne's back. This small but genuine action reportedly signified a deep level of trust. This moment reportedly held greater significance than initially perceived, as by March 2026, that quiet connection had reportedly developed in a formidable and protective bond poised for action. Therefore, when Princess Anne reportedly entered the meeting with King Charles III, her role transcended that of a sister defending her brother. She was reportedly there to uphold the decisions made by their late mother. She reportedly made her position unequivocally clear from the outset. She reportedly informed King Charles III that if he permitted the continued questioning, reclassification, or reclamation of their mother's private gifts, the authority of a monarch's word would be irrevocably diminished. She then reportedly delivered a statement that reportedly silenced the room. If our mother's signature on a lease or a deed of gift is not worth the paper it's written on day, then your signature will be worth even less morrow. Princess Anne reportedly stated. She was reportedly challenging the very foundation of royal authority, asserting that a monarch's power is contingent upon public trust in their signed commitments. This trust, she argued, does not originate solely with the reigning monarch, but is inherited from all preceding sovereigns. A disruption in this lineage, she warned, would reportedly weaken the entire institution. Princess Anne had reportedly already conducted her own review of the Bagshot Park documents. She reportedly possessed a precise understanding of Prince Edward's financial contributions, the agreements he had formally signed, and the terms which the Crown Estate had officially consented. The fundamental aspect of that agreement, she reportedly emphasized, was Prince Edward's long-term legal lease over the property. This lease was reportedly fortified by his personal financial investment and binding legal clauses that conferred upon him full rights reside there and exercise control within the parameters of the lease. Princess Anne's stance was reportedly direct. Prince Edward had paid for that home, and the Crown Estate had accepted his funds under those explicit terms. That agreement, she asserted, remained valid, leaving no room for further debate. Princess Anne reportedly did not treat the tiara and the house disputes as separate issues. She reportedly articulated clearly that they represented a unified conflict. Both were personal gifts from Queen Elizabeth II, substantiated by signed legal documents, and both were reportedly being challenged using identical arguments. Princess Anne reportedly made the direct point that if the palace succeeded in reclaiming one item, it would establish a precedent for the reclamation of the other. Once that precedent was set, she argued, nothing Queen Elizabeth II had ever signed would reportedly remain secure. A poignant and distressing aspect of this situation reportedly involved Sophie directly. Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, reportedly experienced the loss of her own mother at a young age. Over many years, Queen Elizabeth II reportedly became the closest maternal figure she had known. Princess Anne reportedly comprehended the profound significance of this bond, having herself endured the loss of her father in 2021 and her mother in 2022. She reportedly understood the emotional impact of such bereavements and the importance of the legacies left behind. Consequently, when the tiara and the home became targets, Princess Anne reportedly perceived not merely bureaucratic paperwork, but an attempt to seize something precious from an individual who had already experienced significant personal loss. An additional layer reportedly made the situation even more difficult except for Princess Anne. She had reportedly observed this pattern previously. Having been close to Princess Diana, she reportedly witnessed the gradual erosion of Diana's position. This reportedly included the removal of her HRH title, her increasing isolation, and the withdrawal of institutional support. Princess Anne reportedly observed a woman who had given immensely the monarchy subsequently being marginalized. She reportedly perceived a similar form of pressure now developing, albeit against a different individual. Following a comparable pattern, she reportedly resolved not remain silent this time. Princess Anne reportedly escalated her position further. She reportedly informed King Charles III that if Queen Camilla persisted in her actions, Anne would intervene, not through private channels, but publicly. She reportedly stated her intention personally oversee a comprehensive audit of the Queen's household. This audit would reportedly extend beyond mere financial figures, encompassing all expenses, staffing allocations, and monetary provisions directly associated with Queen Camilla. This particular threat reportedly carried substantial weight, as Princess Anne is widely regarded as the sole member of the royal family possessing the credibility and discipline execute such an audit and be taken seriously. Her long-established reputation for financial prudence and stringent control reportedly lends significant credence her pronouncements. Princess Anne's intervention reportedly did not cease there. She reportedly raised the issue of Prince Edward's children. There had reportedly been discreet pressure transition James, Earl of Wessex, and Lady Louise Windsor full private status ahead of schedule. This change would reportedly entail their stepping away from protected royal positions, thereby forfeiting associated security and support. Princess Anne reportedly halted this initiative immediately. She reportedly made it unequivocally clear that such a decision belonged solely their parents and the children themselves, not Queen Camilla. This matter reportedly held personal significance for Princess Anne, as she had, years prior, freely chosen a private life for her own children, Peter and Zara, without external coercion. She reportedly perceived the current pressure as fundamentally different from a free choice, and she reportedly would not permit it. By the conclusion of the meeting, the dynamics of the situation had reportedly fundamentally altered. King Charles III was reportedly left with two undesirable options: either endorse Queen Camilla's actions, risking the integrity of his own royal authority, or retreat, acknowledging that certain boundaries were not to be transgressed. There was reportedly no straightforward resolution. As Princess Anne departed the room, one fact reportedly remained undeniable. This was no longer solely Prince Edward's struggle, it had evolved in a direct challenge the king himself. King Charles III reportedly found himself in an untenable position, caught between opposing forces. Following a thorough review of the entire case, the king's own legal advisors reportedly presented their conclusion: Prince Edward's legal standing was effectively unassailable. Every piece of evidence reportedly withstood scrutiny, and no royal directive could reportedly supersede it. King Charles III had reportedly lost that particular legal engagement. For many years, he had reportedly operated under a premise that appeared self-evident to him. As king, and as the Granner of the Dukedom in April 2023, he believed he retained ultimate authority over all associated aspects: the title, the property, and its underlying structure. His own legal counsel reportedly informed him in writing that this belief was incorrect. What his mother had bequeathed Prince Edward was reportedly not a temporary arrangement, it constituted a legal inheritance entirely beyond his reach. This revelation alone reportedly proved profoundly unsettling. However, an additional detail within the legal file reportedly had an even greater impact: the letter witnessed by Prince Philip. King Charles III was reportedly aware of his mother's consistent protection of Edward and Sophie, and where her loyalties lay. Yet he reportedly had been unaware that Prince Philip, in his final moments, had formally endorsed that protection in writing. This specific detail reportedly transformed the entire context, indicating that the decision was not solely Queen Elizabeth II's, but a joint determination by both his parents. Despite these developments, the internal pressure reportedly did not subside. Queen Camilla reportedly maintained her position, advocating for the consistent application of royal rules across the entire family. Her aim was reportedly initiate reviews of private gifts such as the tiara, impose stricter control over properties like Bagshot Park, and ensure that no family member operated outside the established institutional framework. She reportedly desired bring all royal assets under central control, which reportedly became the genesis of the primary conflict. Prince Edward and Sophie were reportedly already operating independently of this centralized structure. They possessed their own secured residence and had demonstrated their capacity to manage without complete reliance on palace control, rendering them particularly challenging bring in line. Consequently, every measure taken against them reportedly appeared as an attempt to reassert control, by divesting them of the very elements that underpinned their independence. As a direct consequence of these internal conflicts, the cohesion within the palace reportedly began fracture. Staff members reportedly aligned themselves with different factions. Individuals who had served the Duchess of Edinburgh for years reportedly began discreetly offer support to the Edinburgh household. Simultaneously, a growing sense of resentment toward the Queen's office reportedly started to permeate the environment. Where divisions exist, leaks inevitably follow. Private discussions were reportedly no longer entirely confidential. Documents, internal notes, and reports were reportedly closer public disclosure than ever before. The palace, traditionally renowned for its stringent control and secrecy, was reportedly now internally divided. An insider reportedly summarized the situation succinctly: the king is being led in a minefield. He is being pushed to choose between his wife's demands and his mother's final decisions. There is no outcome that does not damage the family. This reportedly describes the precise predicament King Charles III now confronted. Beyond the palace walls, the implications were reportedly even more concerning. At a time when the public was grappling with escalating living costs and significant financial pressures, the perception of a monarch attempting reclaim a residence from his own brother a home that the brother had personally financed reservoir would reportedly be met with widespread disapproval and would likely not be forgotten. Reports indicate that King Charles III ultimately bypassed the formal legal process. He reportedly dispatched a private handwritten note directly Bagshot Park requesting a family meeting. This action reportedly suggested an acknowledgement that the law was not in his favour. However, the response he received reportedly clarified the gravity of the situation. Prince Edward reportedly declined meet unless his full legal team was present. This condition reportedly transformed the nature of the engagement entirely. It was no longer a familial discussion. Prince Edward was reportedly no longer acting as the younger brother seeking maintain peace. He was reportedly operating as an individual who fully comprehended the stakes and refused relinquish anything without adequate legal protection. Once such a boundary is established, it reportedly becomes irreversible. King Charles III had reportedly awaited the throne for decades. He now presided over a monarchy reportedly smaller than at any point in its history. Yet, within this diminished structure, a fundamental rupture had reportedly occurred, marked by suspicion, internal division, and mounting pressures. And somewhere in Surrey, within a residence he could not legally touch, the ultimate validation of his mother's final decisions reportedly lay beyond his control. A formal admission of defeat was reportedly necessitated from the palace. Late on March 25, 2026, a concise and direct official communication, devoid of emotion or explanation, was dispatched from the office of the Master of the Jewel House Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. It confirmed that the Anthemian tiara would remain under her exclusive private control. No apology was offered for the audit, nor was there any acknowledgement of the pressure that had been exerted. Concurrently, the review concerning Bagshot Park was discreetly terminated. The official phrasing cited recognition of the Edinburgh household's role in maintaining the estate as the reason. However, within the palace, the true implication was reportedly universally understood: the crown had receded. All of Prince Edward's holdings, the title, the residence and the tiara were reportedly reaffirmed precisely as Queen Elizabeth II had intended. This confirmation reportedly fundamentally altered the internal balance of power within the family. This was reportedly no longer merely a transient dispute, it had become a permanent record. That official note will reportedly be preserved in the royal archives long after all involved parties have passed. Its meaning, when examined in the future, will reportedly be unequivocally clear. A claim was asserted, it failed, and the institution was compelled formally acknowledge that failure in writing. However, this outcome reportedly did not bring reconciliation. It reportedly incurred an irreparable cost. The relationship between King Charles III and Prince Edward has reportedly undergone a complete transformation. It is no longer characterized by personal warmth or intimacy, but by formality, control, and strict limitation of official duties. The public, moving forward, will reportedly witness a fade of unity, including joint public appearances and the two brothers standing side by side at royal functions. Yet, within the family, the underlying reality will reportedly be known. One brother was compelled to employ legal means, safeguard his interests against the other. This fact, it is understood, will not dissipate. The fundamental structure of the monarchy has reportedly shifted as a result. There are now reportedly two distinct centres of influence. At Buckingham Palace, Queen Camilla and King Charles III reportedly continue to advance their vision of a streamlined, centrally controlled monarchy. Away from this central hub, another faction has reportedly quietly consolidated its position. Princess Anne, Prince Edward and Sophie, reportedly with the discreet support of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. This group is reportedly not operating with overt public declarations, but is reportedly maintaining a firm boundary, preserving the legacy established by previous generations and resisting any attempts subtly redefine it. This division is reportedly now deeply entrenched. For James, Earl of Wessex and Lady Louise Windsor, this period will reportedly leave an indelible mark. They reportedly observed their father navigate this conflict without public drama, relying on meticulous documentation, careful preparation, and absolute control compel the system retract its claims. One day, James will reportedly inherit the Dukedom of Edinburgh, the same title his grandfather held for over 70 years. However, he will reportedly bear it with a profoundly different understanding. He will reportedly comprehend that the institution capable of bestowing honours can also attempt to reclaim them. This knowledge reportedly fundamentally alters one's perspective. It reportedly fosters caution rather than unquestioning loyalty, and that caution will reportedly shape his engagement within the royal system throughout his life. As for King Charles III, he reportedly possesses his monarchy, his preferred structure, and his authority. However, what he reportedly no longer commands is the complete trust of the brother who quietly served for decades, managed his own finances, and sought nothing beyond the retention of what had been legitimately granted him. This particular loss, while not evident on official documents, will reportedly manifest over time, enduring long after the legal papers are filed and the silence has